The UNIFIL headquarters in South Lebanon sits just north of the Blue Line, the 2000 demarcation between Lebanon and Israel. Calling it a border would be too optimistic. The two countries have never had diplomatic relations and consider each other enemy states.
This is not a border. The border can only be established if the two countries have a relation and discuss a border. At the moment, the Blue Line is used to prevent violation between the two countries.
UNIFIL is also tasked with implementing Security Council Resolution 1701, which calls for a complete cease in hostilities between the two sides. Both accuse each other of violating it numerous times.
Can you hear me?
The hostilities are making the peacekeepers' job even more difficult, as we saw for ourselves. We had to take shelter. The security level was raised while we were at the headquarters. We were quick to realize why. An Israeli strike happened about a kilometer away, sending plumes of smoke into the air.
As we experienced today, this UNIFIL headquarters is not immune to the effects of the war. This base has seen shelling, and we know that at least 3 UN peacekeepers have been injured since the beginning of this war. But the fear that is temporarily injected into these headquarters is really just a microcosm of what so many communities here in South Lebanon feel on a daily basis.
100,000 residents of South Lebanon have already left. Those who remain say the situation is not ideal, but we didn't find one person who doesn't support Lebanon's resistance.
Of course, we're all scared for our children, but God is with us, and war is not a new thing. We are the people of the South. We were born in war, and we're used to it.
Opinions on how to resolve the situation with Israel vary, and how to deal with it is largely dependent on the views of Hezbollah, the strongest force in the country. And on top of that, the current government is grappling with a political and economic crisis.
Implementing Resolution 1701 requires the government to regain its authority over the entire Lebanese territory and the demarcation of the border. The demarcation would eliminate the possibility of war, but this requires the approval of Hezbollah. Before the war, the American envoy Amos Hochstein brought a demarcation proposal, and he continues to do so. But in light of the war in Gaza and the fighting in the south, an agreement seems out of reach.
Lately, both the U.S. and France have been involved in peacemaking efforts, and Lebanon has affirmed its full support for Resolution 1701. But Hezbollah says any end to its fighting with Israel remains fully rooted in Israel stopping its bombardment of Gaza. Priyanka Navani, TRT World, South Lebanon.